Hi friends, today you're going to be doing a fraction talk with me. Let's take a look at this first picture. You're going to see 5 different hexagons. Can you tell me what our whole is? Our whole is one hexagon, right? So this picture right here shows us our whole. I want you to look at the 4 other hexagons. Do you know how each hexagon is partitioned? So let's take a look at the brown hexagon. How is the brown hexagon partitioned? How many equal parts are there? Well, we have 4, right? We have 4 equal parts. What do we call that when we have 4 equal parts? We call that fourths, or we call it what? Quarters. So if I were to shade in this one right here, this quarter, how can I label that quarter? I could label that 1/4. Awesome. Okay, let's take a look at the red hexagon. How many equal parts is it partitioned into? It's partitioned into 2 equal parts. 1, 2. And what do we call each part of that hexagon? We call them both, I'm going to delete that. We call them both halves, right? So this is a half and this is a half. Okay, let's take a look at the green hexagon. How many equal parts does it have? There are 6 equal parts, right? And what would I label, how would I label each of those parts? What would I call this one right here? I would call that 1/6, right? They're all 1/6. But when we're counting, we would say this is 1/6, but then we have 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and this last one would be 6/6. Let's look at the blue hexagon. How many equal parts is it partitioned into? There's 3 equal parts, right? 1, 2, 3. How could we label those equal parts, right? We could label each one as a third, 1/3 of the whole. I want you to look at these again. Do you see any equivalent fractions? So do you see any that are the same? So the wholes are all the same, right? They're all equal to this yellow hexagon, right? They're all the same size. Do you see any other fractions that are equivalent? Think about a half. Do you see any equivalent fractions that would be the same as a half? Well, let's take a look at the brown one, the brown hexagon. Do you see anything that is equivalent to this half? I see a fraction that's equivalent to that half. Do you see it? How many of those fourths are the same as that half? Let's look. There's 1/4 and there's another 4th. How many fourths is that? That's 2/4. So 1/2 is the same as 2/4. They are equivalent, meaning they're the same. Do you see in any of the other hexagons where they're the same as a half? Take a look at the green hexagon. How many of those 6ths are the same as a half? Let's look at them. So we know this is 1/6, This is 1/6, and this is 1/6. How many sixths is that? That's 3/6. So we can say that 1/2 is the same or equivalent to 3/6. Is there any equivalent fraction in the blue one? Is that equivalent to 1/2? No. I don't see how it could be equivalent, right? Because it has to be like this. So are thirds equivalent to halves? No. All right, well, let's keep looking. Do you see any other equivalent fractions? Let's take a look at the green hexagon and the blue hexagon. Do you see anything there? What if I outlined this right here? Do you see an equivalent fraction? How many sixths did I outline here? I have 2/6. Okay, well, let's take a look at this third here. How many thirds is that? It's 1/3. Are they the same? They are. So we could say that 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. Do you see anything else? What if I highlight this or outline that? Did I create another equivalent fraction? How many sixths do I have outlined over on that green hexagon? Let's see, there's 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, right? And then how many thirds are here? 1/3, 2/3, 2/3. Are those the same? They are. So we could say that 4/6 is the same as 2/3. Do you see any more? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? That if we add the rest of that green hexagon and the rest of that blue hexagon, that those are the same. So this is 6/6, and this is 3/3, and they're the what? They're the same. And is there another fraction that they're the same as? That creates a whole, right? So 3/3 creates a whole. 6/6 creates a whole. So these are all the same. But what about this right here? How many halves creates the whole here? So 2/2 creates the whole, which makes that all the same. And then how many fourths in that brown hexagon create a whole? 4/4, right? So that means that when we have all of those fractional parts, that they're all the same, aren't they? So they're all equal to one whole. Do you see any other equivalent fractions? I want to look at the brown hexagon and the green hexagon. So I want to look at our fourths and our sixths. What if I highlight this part, which was the same as what? So that was 2/4 were the same as 1/2, right? And we had 3/6, which was the same as 1/2. How are those two equivalent? Right. 2/4 is the same as 3/6 because they're both what? They're both 1/2. Good job. Okay, last slide. Do the pictures represent equivalent fractions? How do you know?